Class 10th, let's start a very new chapter, and the chapter name is Waste Management. It's your chapter number 12. And in this waste management chapter, you're going to study about the need for waste management and the methods of safe disposal, and those methods are segregations, dumping, and composting. As well as you are going to read about the need and methods for reducing, reusing, and recycling the waste. So let's start today's class. Waste are those material which are found in all the forms like solid, liquid, and gaseous form, and they contaminated the environment, right, surrounding environment. So waste is defined as the any matter such as whether it's a solid, liquid, or a gas or radioactive, which is when it is when it is discharged in the environment, it deposited in the environment, and it is going to harm the environment. It harms the environment, right? So that we call waste. Now, generally, waste is any material or a substance that is of no further use and has been discarded. Discarded means it has been removed, cut off from our life. So, if not properly managed, waste can cause pollution and adverse impacts on the environment. So, if the waste are not safely disposed, then that waste are going to harm us, right? Harm the environment. So waste is directly linked to the human development, both technologically and socially. In the modern age, it is the man who produces maximum waste. So in nature, there is nothing like waste, because the apparent waste produced by one organism becomes input for other organism. So waste is becoming a problem nowadays, and because it is produced more than what the nature can handle, right? That is why it has become it's a big problem. And why? Because it has been produced more than the nature can replenish it, or nature can handle it, right? An average man generates about 300 to 500 kg of waste per year. Next is come to the sources of the waste. So there are various sources like industries, factories, your agriculture, household, municipal, or your commercials and medical units. These are the sources of waste from where the waste generate, right? Okay, now it has been observed that the urban areas, that means the city areas, generate more waste than the village areas, that is rural areas, right? Some waste are not much harmful, but some are hazardous. Some waste are not very harmful, but some are really very harmful, hazardous, right? Okay, now next, the waste may be solid, liquid, or in a gaseous form. Solid waste is generated from constructions, demolitions, mining, etc. Liquid waste is generated from sewage, tanneries, textiles, and other factories. Gaseous waste is also generated from the smoke released from the factories and the vehicles, right? So these are the three forms of waste: solid waste, liquid waste, and gaseous waste. Now next is classification of waste, very important topic. So on the basis of decomposition of waste, the waste can be categorized into biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. So biodegradable waste means is used to describe the materials that decompose through the actions of bacteria, fungi, and other living organisms. So in another way, we can say biodegradable waste. Biodegradable waste is that waste which can easily decompose and can easily mix up with the soil. Clear? Okay. For examples are like papers, your vegetable and fruit peels, and leaves, grass, wood, paper, clothes, wool. These all are your biodegradable waste. And this way the waste is consumed totally and disappears without leaving any byproduct. So these waste can be, as I told you, easily mixed with the soil and can easily decompose. That is why this type of waste is easily consumed, easily decomposed totally, and disappears without leaving any byproducts, harmful byproducts, we can say. Okay, now next is non biodegradable waste. So the waste which does not break down or decompose in the soil, which does not mix with the soil. The important non biodegradable waste is made of plastic goods, polythene bags, synthetic clothes, metals, chemicals, radioactive waste. These are the examples of non biodegradable waste which could not mix with the soil or which could not decompose easily, right? Now, next topic is impact of waste accumulations. The accumulations of waste results in toxic chemicals in the garbage we throw at various places. These toxic chemicals become pollutants and affect the environment. So this is point to be noted. Whatever the waste, whether it's a biodegradable or non-biodegradable, especially non-biodegradable, the chemicals release out, and that chemicals becomes what? Toxic chemicals, poisonous chemicals become what? Pollutants and affect the environment, harm the environment. Most of the chemicals or the pollutants are absorbed by the soil, which in turn are released down to mix with the underground water, which is a major source of drinking water for most of the population, right? So this is a point to be noted, that most of the chemicals or the pollutants are absorbed by the soil, and that soil, when it mixes with the rainwater, it seeps down and it reaches the underground water table, and from that underground water table it contaminates it spoils the underground water, and that underground water, which is the major source of drinking water for most of the population, right? Okay, now the garbage starts stinking and pollutes the air also, right? And the air looks awful. This way, the waste pollutes the soil, air, and water surface, groundwater, etc. So that is why waste accumulation is very harmful also, and it gives adverse effect or effect, right? For example, it is going to waste, or the waste pollutes air, water, underground water, as well as soil. This pollution affects the plants, animals, and human beings also, right? Directly, indirectly, all living creatures are affected by the contaminated or the waste accumulation, we can say. Now, next is waste and spoilage of landscape. Waste and spoilage of landscape. As I already told you that the waste accumulation has an adverse effect on the population and the living creatures, as well as their surrounding, right? Surrounding, and or their living standard also. So now the waste accumulation damages the surrounding areas, and when the waste is dumped in improper way, so if the waste is not properly disposed, then uh, the area looks very unpleasant, it gives foul smell, and it reduces the scenic beauty of the area, right? As well as, not only this, it also narrows it also narrows the streets and roads, right? And you know that the domestic waste is often dumped in the open grounds, which looks very ugly, right? So it reduces the scenic beauty of the area also, surroundings also, right? And often this heaps of waste are dumped on the roads and streets, which narrows the downs and which narrows the streets and roads, And other than these, diseases like diarrhea, dysentery, malaria, plague, all these are the result of such dumping, improper dumping, we can say, improper way of dumping the waste or waste accumulations. So waste of accumulations also cause, or that is also the breeding ground or breeding place for the insects, rats, flies, etc. Right? So they um, move in a large numbers and look horrible also, and they cause uh, diseases like malaria, dengue, and your um, dengue and chikungunya, so and many more, right? Okay, now next is waste pollution and health hazards. With increasing development, the volume of waste is also increasing with the development, increasing in development and increasing in the population. The volume of waste is also increasing, right? So per capita generation of waste is growing sharply in the industrial countries. Waste is responsible for different kind of pollutions. Waste also releases harmful gases like methane and dioxide. So waste not only pollutes the environment, waste also releases harmful gases like methane and dioxide, which is not good for human health, or which is not good for living creatures, we can say. Okay, now health hazards. Today, man is exposed to a variety of diseases. Many of these diseases are the outcome of environmental pollution. So, every year, 13 million deaths occur due to environmental causes that are preventable. If environmental risks are prevented, every year it could save annually as many as 4 million lives of children alone. This is more true in the developing countries like India. Effect of gaseous waste or air pollution. So what are the effects of air pollution? Gaseous waste or the air pollutions continues to pose a significant threat to human health worldwide. Many countries around the world do not have regulations on air pollutions. Many poor countries or developing countries, they don't have effective way or the treatment plans to treat those or to control those pollutions, right? Okay, polluted air leads to numerous diseases like asthma, bronchitis, lung cancers, and many more. These diseases may take several years to cure, and in some cases, the affected person may die. So, the pollutants weaken the lungs and infect the person. Exposure to indoor air pollutions from solid fuels also causes several diseases like pneumonia among children and chronic respiratory diseases among adults. So, these are the diseases which are caused by the contamination of air. The common are pneumonia, chronic respiratory diseases, and your bronchitis, asthma. All these are the diseases which are caused by polluted air. Now come to the okay, let's talk about the pollutant sulfur dioxide. So sulfur dioxide is a serious pollutant. So its concentration in human body causes cough, breathlessness, and spasm of larynx. So spasm of larynx means it's a difficulty in movement in this part, the snake part, right? So it also causes irritations in eyes, and it also becomes an allergic agent. So the allergy may happen if sulfur dioxide is concentrated in human body, as well as when it reacts with some compounds, it makes sulfuric acid, and which is very dangerous and can damage the lungs, right? Okay. Now next pollutant is carbon monoxide, is another dangerous pollutant present in the air, which is caused by the pollution and the accumulation of waste, and it affects the oxygen carrying capacity of blood. Cigarette smoking is the main cause of our exposure to this poisonous gas. Carbon monoxide remains attached to the hemoglobin for a long time, so it can affect thinking, slow down of reflexes, cause headaches, drowsiness, dizziness, and nausea. Right? So, in some cases, it can have negative impact on the vision also, eyesight. Right? And in severe cases, poisoning by carbon monoxide can even cause death also. Now, next pollutant is methane. Is a potent greenhouse gas. Methane, I think you all are aware of this methane gas, which is the main component of the which makes a greenhouse effect, and it is emitted during the productions and the transport of coal, natural gas, that means the fossil fuels, and methane emission also result from livestock and other agricultural practices also, like burning of husk and burning of your paddy fields, so that produces methane, right? Similarly, nitric acid causes irritations and its excess amount causes hemorrhage also, right? So hydrogen sulfide is another toxic pollutant. uh, Lead is also released from the vehicular exhaust and can damage the brain. And particular pollutants like silica, asbestos, lead affect the lungs. Effects of solid waste. So heaps of or the accumulation of waste on land started stinking. So stinking means it started giving foul smell, right, after some time. Okay, and numerous insects, bacteria, and the virus that grow on the rotting waste, which are capable of spreading several diseases like your dengue, malaria, and chikungunya, right? So, and other diseases like diarrhea, cholera, etc. So, mosquitoes are known for the spreading malaria. Flies carry the virus and the spread in it in the adjoining areas, and people fall sick and start vomiting. So these are the effects of solid waste. Now next is effect of water pollution. So sometimes water gets infected, resulting into the spreading of waterborne diseases, like all the people as well as the animals get infected by consuming that water, contaminated water. So therefore very essential to remove the garbage every day or the waste every day and treat it properly. So before throwing it or before disposing, we should treat it very properly. So water tank should be cleaned regularly. Large amount of soluble nitrates are released and dissolved in the water, so it may contaminate the groundwater, including wells of the area. So heavy intake of nitrates by human may cause serious health hazards, right? So we should take care of before discharging any kind of any form of waste, it should be properly treated, and if it is solid, then that solid waste should be properly managed or the properly disposed, right? So in the further topic, you'll come to know how we are or how we can properly dispose the waste, right? So now next is effect of metal in waste. Many plastic goods have harmful metals like cobalt, lead, copper, chromium. These metals have adverse effect on human health. Animals may be affected with the metals, so further it may accumulate in the humans as well. So these are the effects of metals and waste. Effect of mining and industrial waste. Industrial workers, miners, potters are exposed to silica dust because they are always working in the mines. So working in the mines or working in the industrial areas means they are always exposing to the silica dust. So they are infected with silicosis, type of lung disease, right? So people who work in the deep coal mine inhale the fine coal dust, which leads to a disease like black lungs. Many gases are also released in the process of mining, like methane and carbon monoxide, which are not at all good for human health. And the coal miners and the industrial workers, they are always they are always exposed to the silica dust as well as the coal dust, right? So this gases released methane, carbon monoxide, that is not good for the human health, right? Next is soot. SOOT. Soot is a black dust given out by fire, so it causes skin cancer. Potters are exposed to lead glasses that cause neurological disease, nerve disease, the disease related to nervous system or a nerve. So chimney sweepers are often exposed to it. Workers that work in the matchbox factory are exposed to phosphorus, which causes bone diseases. So workers inhaling cotton dust are infected with a disease called brown lung. Underline brown lung. So the workers or the farmers who worked in the cotton farm, they are exposed to the cotton dust. So they are infected with a disease called brown dust. During harvest season also, threshing activity generates a lot of hay and dust which affect the human health. May cause asthma and bronchitis, right? These are the respiratory diseases. Now, radiation can also lead to a severe health hazards. Effects of non-ionizing radiations at low levels are uncertain, but ionizing radiations at high levels are very risky. That can cause cancer and increase the chromosome damages also. Workers at nuclear shipyards are most prone to such radiators. So the workers who are working in the nuclear shipyards, they are more vulnerable, or they are most prone to such radiators, and they are mostly affected. Okay children, that's all for the day. And in the next video, I'll start a new topic, that is the effects of waste accumulation on the terrestrial as well as on the aquatic life. And hopefully I'll start the next topic also, that is the waste management, in which you'll get to know about the 3 R's of waste management, that is reduce, reuse and recycle. So that's all for the day. Thank you.